Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Daryl.
And Daryl, we've got a bunch of Superman news this week. I'm so happy.
Because he's super.
And he's a man. I don't,
But is he 40?
Yes. No.
For those
maybe.
For those that don't follow sports, Jeff Gundy had a tirade against the media back in 10 years ago when he was defending one of his players. He's like, "Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40."
I remember that. Yeah. Oh God, Jeff Van Gundy. Yeah, he was his brother Stan was the Pistons coach for a while.
No, Jeff Gundy, like the coach
Jeff
of Oklahoma
Gundy.
State
Oh,
football.
never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought you said that.
Jeff Gundy, who the last couple years
had
a party in business in a front, party in the back.
Yeah, that mullet was epic. Anyway, so I've got my matcha latte because while I was waiting on you, I took a nap and I need to wake up.
I have my protein mixture of a little bit of everything in it.
So I was reading yesterday, and here we are in health chat with Brian and Daryl. You should wait up to an hour before you take your protein after working out, because if you do it within a half hour of working out, it'll settle in your tummy.
Yeah, this stuff doesn't settle the way I use it. That's interesting though, because I've actually read other stuff where that said you should take it within an hour.
Yeah, so it's
before or after.
It said if you do like an hour to 3 hours, like it's actually the best time, and your body will like take in the majority of the protein. But it's especially if you're doing whey or collagen, and not the plant based. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
and plant-based is different, a little different.
Yeah, I didn't understand the science behind it. The science, I'll just call him William, since we personify science now. Didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me, but also I'm not like in that world, so I just found it as an interesting little article. Anyway, so this week we are talking about Superman and Lois, which was the surprisingly good pilot.
Yes.
WandaVision episode 8, which, spoilers, is the best episode to date of any of the Marvel TV shows.
I'm not sure about that.
I am willing to make that. Oh, well, yeah, I forgot about Inhumans. I mean, that was just 8 episodes of solid diarrhea.
Think about it. You had an advanced race, and they used some wall clippers from like Target to cut Medusa's hair.
To render one of the most powerful Inhumans impotent. I'm talking Inhumans, I'm talking Gifted, I'm talking Runaways, but actually talking about the good stuff like S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the Netflix stuff. I love this episode. I like, if this is what we can expect from MCU TV. Like, I'm super excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and my trepidations about Loki are getting less.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want a whole series where it focuses on Loki, but that is beside the point.
But it's going to be is it going to be a 6-episode type?
I hope it's like 4, to be honest. Like, less is more with Loki.
I think so, too. So,
but yeah. Anyway, so up first in the news bites, I gotta come up with a different name for news bites. I originally want to call it because it's the Infamous Podcast. I wanted to call it Tip, just the tip. But settled on news bites. And yes, I'm aware of the innuendo there. Anyway, but no, up first is Netflix Nickelodeon made a really big announcement this week that they are expanding the world of Avatar, and not the blue people who have sex with their tails, but the true Avatar, the Last Airbender variety and Korra variety, by launching Avatar Studios, which will create more Avatar content.
Yeah, and being one who just finished Avatar this morning.
Yes.
After what has it been, like 6 months or something like that?
It's been 8 years.
Well, I mean, since I started watching.
I'm just saying it's been like 8 years since I've been trying to get you to watch the show.
Yeah, I'm kind of ashamed of myself. It took me this long to get.
It's okay. I mean, there's lots of stuff that you tell me to watch that, like, like I tried that Nick Sanderson book.
Brandon Sanderson
book. Who's Nick Sanderson? That's a name from something. Anyway, the Brandon Sanderson, The Way of the Turtle or whatever it's called.
Way of Kings.
Yeah, I have to already start over because I'm lost. I just have to. Maybe I have to read it. I don't think I'm going to be able to listen to it. But
yeah,
anyway.
so I've only read those books, and then when I've listened to them after I read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's certain books that I think like even you probably do get a better feel for it if you read it.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, so this is gonna be on Nickelodeon. It'll also be on what will be Paramount Plus, what is CBS All Access right now. So yeah, so another streaming service is gonna have to go in order to bring Paramount Plus back into the fold. But yeah, this is great news, especially after Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. Just Breik. That's what they're called, Breik. Like decided like maybe the Netflix live action stuff isn't a good idea. And I've been on this like bandwagon of let's not do Avatar in live action ever again. Because there's no way to make airbending or waterbending look cool.
Yeah, and right before we started recording, I was saying that it's just watching the fight between Azula and Zuko, Aang and the Phoenix. I was going to call him the Fire King, but
Phoenix King.
The Phoenix. It would just no.
Right?
No.
Like
just that's all I can say is no. Don't try it.
So Azula and Zuko's Agni Kai is legitimately my favorite like 2 minutes of animation ever. It's probably more than 2 minutes. It's probably like 6. Between the way it's scored and the stakes and the actual animation and watching Zuko come into his own as Azula, who has been the powerhouse of the entire series. Like, let's be honest.
Breaks down.
She was 100% the most powerful character on the show. Like, even more so than Aang, who could control to limited degrees all 4 elements. She was a victim of her own ego. And, the way they did it was great. She broke down because of her ambition.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of like Genghis Khan, like could you imagine her as the Fire Lord and the genocide that would have happened on that planet?
Oh no!
Like I just like to think about that. It's like that would have made Thanos have to change his underpants.
No, Thanos would squash her like a bug.
Nah, dude, she would have just burned him right up before he even had a chance to. Anyway, but no, so they're doing this. It's going to go into production this year, doing an animated theatrical film and some spinoff series and, other digital platforms and things like that. So this is super, 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 super exciting. I love
it's kind of a
Avatar. Sorry. Yeah, it's kind of.
I was going to say it's kind of a balm for the dread that I feel with the Netflix live action coming.
Yeah. Hey, Netflix, just don't do it. You lost Brian and Mike. Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Restraint.
You all have plenty of other stuff to work on. Work on Warrior Nun, all this other stuff you all have. You have plenty of properties.
Yeah, let's make sure Jupiter's Legacy is actually good. How about that?
Good idea.
Anyway, but before we get to Jupiter's Legacy, we got a fun little teaser for Spider-Man 3. We finally got the name, and it was a great little video where Tom leaves the director's office and he's like, he gave me a fake name again. And he's like, why does he keep doing this? Why doesn't he trust me? He says I spoil things. When's the last thing I spoiled anything? And Ned and Zendaya was like, the last movie. So
I love that.
And then it zoomed in on the the whiteboard behind them, and so it's called Spider-Man: No Way Home, which is true because of Mysterio's little last what do you call it? Illusion.
Yeah.
I would call it a trick, but it's an illusion, Michael, because like Joe Bluth says,
Mysterio's FU to Spider-Man.
Yeah, big time. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how the multiverse plays into all of this.
Oh man, I like again. Excuse me. We get WandaVision ending next week, so that's going to lead a lot into what to expect from Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. I can't wait.
Right.
I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I like the first two Spider-Man movies. I know there's a contingent of people who do not like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. And I don't know where you stand on it. I feel like we're on the same page liking Tom. But to me, he completely embraces both sides of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I mean, and there's people that I respect a lot, and I wholeheartedly disagree with their thoughts on him not being truly Peter Parker or Spider-Man. He is great as both.
Yeah.
And he's honestly I loved Homecoming. Far From Home I liked a lot. I loved obviously Jake Gyllenhaal, his role in that, but I didn't like it as much as I did the first one. But like the first two movies, I thought Tom Holland, and then him in Civil War. I love what he's brought to the MCU as Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
He's brought this like freshness to it, right? This almost innocence, and I'm kind of happy that like they were able to, in the first movie, it was Homecoming was 100% like self-contained, and the second movie, even though like it belonged into a wider world, Far From Home, it was like post snapping, people coming back, and it was overseas, but it was still a pretty self-contained story.
Right. It was.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like self-contained like Iron Man or Ant-Man, right? But it was still like enough where they just sucked it in. So, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what they bring us with this. Because I just really don't know, and I like that. I like not knowing, where they're going with this. So yeah, good title. I don't get too geeked out about titles generally, but I am just excited about what they've done so far with the Spider-Man character and what they're going to do in the future, especially when you think about the whole multiverse thing.
Right, and with Sony owning half of the rights to the character. I will say the missed opportunity for the Spider-Man Homewrecker, which was a rumored title for just all the cosplay girls who dress up as like the gender-bent Spider-Man, like that would have been a year's worth of fun. But no, it comes out Christmas of this year, so exclusively in theaters. So Marvel knows something about the cornholio sickness that we don't. So
yeah.
All right. So next is the Jupiter's Legacy trailer.
Speaking of Netflix,
hit Netflix. Jupiter's Legacy is a great comic from Mark Millar. Josh Duhamel's starring in it. There wasn't a whole lot. I think there's a thing going on IGN as we're recording this where they've got their like IGN days or whatever with a panel with Mark and Josh Duhamel. But it comes out soonish. I think March something. I forget.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I was surprised because we only got sort of pretty much a voiceover, no real trailer.
No, there wasn't a whole lot there. So, I thought that, hey, this is pretty cool. So, it was just a little teaser. Oh, Friday, May 7th, it premieres.
Okay.
So
yeah, so might have to go back and reread that.
I think I'm gonna have to reinstate my Netflix account.
Yeah. Do we know anything else about how many episodes it's going to be,
It did.
or episode long?
Like I
I
looked
don't
on
think it's
TV
said.
Line and it didn't say, but
Okay.
but the executive producers are Mark Millar, Frank Quitely. They were the team on the comic. Lorenzo Di Bonventura, Dan Marmont, Stephen S. Tonight, from Spartacus and Black Flag. Is that the one?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that
So
show.
I mean, like, it's got a great team behind it. Josh Jamel, Sheldon Stapleton, Josh Jamel is Sheldon Sampson, who is the leader of the superhero team, and he's the Utopian. Leslie Bibb, who is great, is his wife Grace. Ben Daniels from the Exorcist reboot is Walter, his older brother. And yeah, so it's an interesting cast. Sorry.
Yeah. Tyler Mane is going to be in it.
Yeah, good. We haven't
That's
seen Tyler in anything.
Yeah.
And Matt Lanter, who is the voice of Anakin on the Clone Wars, is one of the characters.
IMDb says 8 episodes.
Okay, perfect. I mean, it was 6 issues, so
Right.
I think if you can get 8 40-minute episodes out of that, they're doing all right.
Yeah, and there are pictures on the internet with Josh Duhamel in his kind of costume. There's only a few that I've seen, and a couple of the other characters, but
yeah,
it's not much is out there about this, but we'll probably get something in the next, I'd say, month and a half, as far as a full trailer.
Yep. So, all right. So, speaking of things that we don't have much of out there, we have a bunch of rumors about Aquaman 2 that were hitting the internet, and so keep in mind this is just rumor, but we have been talking about the struggle between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp for months.
It feels like years.
I feel like we have to talk about this, even if it's just a rumor. And I personally don't think this is true. But hey, if it turns out to be true, I think this is really interesting. There are reports that say Emilia Clarke is replacing Amber Heard as Mera in Aquaman 2. Now, there have been other rumors that they brought in a second female lead and that they're going to like injure Mera early on in the movie, so Amber Heard's not in it anymore. Not in it for the rest of the movie. But I don't know what to believe. I don't even know if they've started shooting. It like there's not anything that I would call like really reliable news. But I do have to say, Johnny Depp's had a few wins in court lately, and there's been evidence that has exonerated some of his claims, and just waiting for judges to actually hear it and bring it into court. But yeah, this is interesting. This is that whole like cancel culture thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, do we want people who are assholes? Even if I don't think they're an asshole, like I don't think Gina's an asshole. I don't think Gina should have been fired. I think Pedro is an asshole. I don't think Pedro should be fired, even though I don't like Pedro.
Exactly.
I don't think Johnny Depp should have lost Fantastic Beast. I don't think Amber Heard should lose this.
Yeah, and this is it. Well, this is the thing about the whole. We try to be as I don't. It doesn't matter that I don't like Pedro. Like if they let him go for the tweets he had, I would have had a problem with that.
Same.
Because I'd have a problem with people getting fired for stuff that is just little dickish things.
Mm-hmm.
It's one, and then you have something like Ezra Miller, who obviously has been untouched despite putting his hands on someone
on video, attacking just an old woman, just flat out choking her to the ground, and he's part of a sect of society that is quote unquote untouchable at the moment, and whatever. But I do want to say, all of these people who are putting petitions out there.
Stop.
Hold on. Well, not just stop, but stop putting a petition out there and saying who you want in the role. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't want Emilia Clarke as Mera. I don't know if y'all saw the Terminator movie she was in.
I saw 40 minutes of it.
She's the worst Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, like whatever the worst Sarah Connor is, she's 3 Sarah Connors below that. So there's still 3 more women who can play Sarah Connor that, regardless, will be better than Emilia Clarke.
But I will say this too in her defense. One of the worst things about Aquaman was Amber Heard. She was terrible.
Yeah,
Like, she's great to look at,
absolutely.
but as far as acting, as far as the chemistry with Jason Momoa, it was awful. And so Emilia Clarke. I mean, again, I like Emilia Clarke as Daenerys Targaryen. Like I said, I only watched 40 minutes of that movie, and I just called it quits. I couldn't go. I couldn't continue.
Yeah, that was bad.
I haven't seen her in anything else. I know she was in that movie with, I think, Henry Golding or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Christmas.
there was like she was a.
Never watched that.
Yeah.
Which,
So I'll say this.
make her a new character. Like, that'd be fine.
Yeah, she could play Dolphin, which is a character from the Aquaman, and the character is blonde, and everybody has to play what they are. So, wow, that was snarky, wasn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. We don't believe in hair dye anymore. You can't. The only hair color you're not allowed to have naturally is red.
It's red, yeah. I'm sorry for those redheads out there, man.
Dude, it's just redhead erasure. So
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. As far as this goes, like, it's just rumor. I mean, we've been talking about the whole Amber and Johnny Depp thing, and Johnny lost a bunch of movies. Like, I feel like she's gonna lose stuff in the long run. But that being said, like, I don't think she should be kicked off. I don't think she's a great actress. Like you said, she's very aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as aesthetics go, there's no such thing as perfection, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, obviously, but she's nearly perfect. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've learned this in sports. Hey, if you are good at what you do, and the same thing, it's with anything, business world too. If you're really good at what you do, a lot of times you skate on things, on
right,
on being
on
a
talent
good person, because yeah.
But also,
exactly.
like, I think you can't just judge by looks, right? Like, if you
Right.
like, I think the best example is, like, you look at Tom Brady. He's never been this jacked dude. He kind of has a pseudo dad bod most of the time. And then you looked at a dude like Brady Quinn, who was a quarterback years ago from Notre Dame, got drafted by the Browns, and in between his senior year or graduating from Notre Dame and starting in the NFL, he put on like 18 pounds of muscle and got shredded, and he looked fantastic, but he ruined his throwing motion.
Yep.
Because he completely changed the musculature of his body, and he washed out of the league within a season. So, I don't know. I just think that when it comes to this thing, like between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, like, stop taking sides. We're never going to get the actual truth. We're just not. Yeah. And stop trying to tell one of them that they can't work. Whatever side you're on, like, just let people make livings. If someone's an asshole, they're an asshole. And, if they go to jail, they go to jail, and then they deal with the ramifications of that. The court of public opinion should not be a life sentence.
No, not at all. And again, this is one of the reasons that Twitter is the black hole of the universe right now, because that's how it is. You step out of line, you do one thing, you don't hold the door for somebody when you're going out of a store. Oh, this person did this, let's cancel them. Let's say a jet engine drops out of the air, cancel Chris Pratt.
Yeah. You're not on Twitter and they say you didn't congratulate this person for getting a role, let's cancel them. Well, of course they're not going to be able to tweet about it. They're not on Twitter.
Right. So
anyway, all right. So speaking of that person, Henry Cavill, there is a Superman reboot in the works, and this is where my hypocrisy is going to show. I don't think either of the two people from this Deadline article that are involved in this movie should be allowed to go anywhere near the flagship superhero of all time.
I am 100% in line with that way of thinking.
So there was a great meme. So there's a Superman reboot in the works from Jar Jar Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates. And there's a great meme where it was Jar Jar going from Star Trek to Star Wars, and as the doors were open and there was a trail of blood coming out of each door, and then he's knocking on DC's door. I'm really happy that people are starting to come around. Like I told you on the phone earlier, I'm really happy people are jumping on the Brian I hate J.J. Abrams bandwagon.
Oh man, this news. Okay, WB, DCEU, all of this stuff with Superman. How do they continually just screw this up? Like the fact that we haven't. Well, it started with the whole Batman v Superman in the sense of trying to catch, instead of doing a true Superman sequel, they said, hey, let's try to catch up with what the MCU is doing.
Let's shoehorn Batman into it.
Yeah, and then let's throw Wonder Woman in there for about 10 minutes.
But let's not even, like, they didn't even shoehorn Batman in. They threw an aged Batman at the end of his career against a fresh-faced new Superman.
And now you have the perfect, to me, like, Henry Cavill is Superman. He exudes Superman.
He is a man, and he is super.
Yes. I mean, the guy built his own PCs and stuff. So
yeah, like
I love Henry Cavill.
Right. Like, so are you in your latex, like, one piece with a heart with HC written on your chest, like Anna, that Star Wars girl, when she had her simp video? That was great, by the way. I know she doesn't listen to our show, but that was fucking awesome.
Oh, that was hilarious.
So good on you. I laughed the whole time. So
yeah,
I actually showed
hard for him.
I know. I showed Angel. I was like, because Angel's watched a few of her videos with me, and I was like, this is hilarious. She's doing this thing about Henry Cavill, and look at what she's wearing, and she's like, she never dresses like that. That's it's funny. All right. So the rumor is it's going to be Calvin Ellis, who is Earth 23.
Is it 23 for Michael Jordan, maybe?
I don't know, but in this Deadline article, it says Michael Jordan is attached to Wrong Answers, which is the movie Ryan Coogler is working on with Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I was like, I did not realize Michael Jordan went back to acting after Space Jam. You got to put the B in there, people. You got to put the B, because there is a Michael Jordan who is that is the Michael Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is never going to just be Michael Jordan in the eyes of the public.
Yeah.
To his mom, sure. To his girlfriends or whatever, boyfriends, however he rolls, sure. But to everybody else, he's Michael B. Because, as much as I hate Jordan, he's the Michael A. Jordan.
I wanna be like Mike. Still one of the greatest commercials ever.
Yeah, I mean, the whole
that whole campaign.
The whole campaign with Spike Lee was awesome. She's mad. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't know. Here's my concern, right? We just had, which we're going to talk about next, Superman and Lois premiere to pretty much wide approval across the board. I saw very few people like, I did not like this. And it's just a pilot, and it's a pilot that diverges greatly from the last time we saw Superman in the Arrowverse at Crisis. Right. So there's that, and then like I told you, we're on the eve of the Snyder Cut coming out. It's imminent within weeks. And they go and they do this. It's like, why do you hate money, DC? Why?
Yeah, it's so. I used to like Abrams. I still love the first Star Trek he did. Despite being very derivative, I love The Force Awakens. But he has had some flubs in there. So how he's handled some things. And this is a property I do not trust him with.
Right.
And as far as Ta-Nehisi Coates, when this news came out, one of our friends said, this guy's a phenomenal writer. I'm like, no, he's not. He's not. That's objectively false. Yeah. He's not. He's good at writing an agenda, and he's good at doing the whole.
He's very political.
Yes, and it's one of those things. If you agree with him, you might think he's a great writer, But also, if you look at what he's saying, I've seen some stuff he said that I don't like, and I've seen some of the stuff he's written in comics.
Mm-hmm.
What makes them think that this guy can write a script?
So, okay,
That's
his
the
Black
biggest
Panther
thing.
comic was not good.
Yeah, I tried reading a couple of,
Yeah.
and I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, and then his Captain America comic was worse. He had Captain America get lectured for his white privilege.
See, I never read any of this Captain America.
Yeah, it's just like, are you kidding me? Just like, dude, that is not what Captain America is about, right? Like, I hated what they did to Sam when it was Sam Wilson Captain America, where it was all like, I don't know, I forget who wrote it. It might have been Nick Spencer, where it's all like the alt-right was out to get him because, like, not my Captain America. You know, and it's like, Sam Wilson is legitimately one of the coolest characters that has been in the MCU and in the Marvel comics. And when he became Captain America after Cap got de-aged, or re-aged, I guess, because he got old, like, there was so much potential there to, like, really move Sam to be one of the heavy hitters in Marvel, not just MCU, but in Marvel. And they decided that they were gonna, like, go the cheap route. And you know, it's like I told you, like with this, Superman is the most recognizable superhero on the planet.
Yes,
hands down.
Yeah, and yeah, we've talked about this before. As much the MCU, like these characters like Captain America and Iron Man, they're household names now. But you go back to like you said, 2008. And what did you say when we were talking earlier?
I said if you go back to pre-2008 and you ask anyone who their favorite superhero, if you ask 100 people who their favorite superhero is, none of them say Iron Man. Not one.
Nope.
If you ask that same 100 people who's your favorite Avenger, not one of them say Iron Man. If you ask that same 100 people who is your favorite, you know, armored superhero, half of them say Steel.
Yeah, you'll get a few Iron Man.
Iron Man was at best a C-list character.
Oh yeah,
at best.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, he was more problematic than interesting most of the time anyway, because of how he was written and the things that, like, the flaws he had as a character. The same with Hank Pym. I feel like they're very close to the same character. But you know, you fast forward to today and, like, oh, I think the other thing, if you would have said, hey, who's your favorite Marvel character? Most people say Spider-Man. And the second character is Hulk. And the third is probably Thor, maybe Cap.
Yeah.
And and if you ever showed somebody a picture of Hawkeye, they're like, oh, Green Arrow's wearing purple now. Cool. Like, honestly, like that's what it is. And as someone who read both, you know, Marvel's big thing, especially in the 80s and 90s, was the X-Men.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the Avengers were popular in the 60s and into the 70s when the X-Men were just having, like, reprints issued when they weren't actually, you know, people forget that there was close to 10 years where the X-Men didn't actually put out any new comics. They just re-released books. And, you know, the Avengers were always going, but, like, you know, I never found them super, super interesting. But that being said, now is a different story. But here's the thing with DC, it's Superman, then Batman, and then the rest of the field. Like
versus Superman, away. Batman versus the field.
Yeah, like honestly, if I'm going to a third world country and I'm holding up superhero symbols, even in the world of the MCU, all of the kids know who Superman is.
Yeah.
98% of the kids know who Batman is.
Yeah. I will say the Iron Man doesn't really have a symbol. He has the arc reactor, I guess, but the other one I would say obviously Spider-Man, and then now Captain America with the shield and everything. Yeah. A lot of people would know that.
And I think the other one now would be Wolverine.
Yeah.
But that's just because he's so oversaturated. And Deadpool is probably now tops
Deadpool is
for Marvel. But that's like, but the thing about
he just turned 30, by the way.
Yeah. So the thing about like Deadpool and Venom, for example, is like comic book fans, like people who love those characters are not necessarily comic book fans. They just like the idea of the anti-establishment character that Deadpool and Venom are.
Yes.
Which is fair. Awesome. Like, go buy all the Deadpool and Venom merch that you want. Check out a comic every now and then. Enjoy the shitty Tom Hardy movie. You know? Awesome. Like, have a character that you love and support and get there. But, so, the rumor is it's going to be Calvin Ellis from Earth 23, and it's going to be Michael B. Jordan. And, you know, it is going to be the most divisive movie. It's going to make Martha look like why did you say that name? It's going to be like that. Why did that movie not win an Oscar? That's how bad this is going to be.
And look, you know, and I was talking to my buddy. We both are big fans of Man of Steel, despite its flaws. And I will go to bat for most of Man of Steel. And yet, I know the divisiveness, and I know some of the points that people have on why it's divisive.
Yeah.
The Superman is a beacon of hope. He represents hope. It's not just, you know, the S on his chest. And I think Zack Snyder, and one of the things I told my buddy last night, I said, I think, you know, because Superman is a big, you know, there's an allegory of Jesus and Superman, obviously, Last Son and all this stuff. And I think
he's written by two Jewish immigrants.
Yeah. And in Man of Steel, and in Man of Steel, I think he was 33 in Man of Steel, and it was like Jesus, you know, going through the temptations.
Right.
And Zack Snyder was trying to build up to the Superman we know, as far as, you know, the guy that we saw in the Superman pilot with Tyler Hoechlin.
Yeah.
We'll get more into that. And I don't think these two guys will do that. Because I think Coates is going to come in here with an agenda, and he's going to make it more about race than about what Superman really is about.
Well, it's like what Terry Crews said. It's going to be the Black Lives Better Superman.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And I don't want
it's
any
gonna be
part
hard.
of that.
It's going to be hard for people not to look at that as like, is this a bad guy? Is this a good guy? What am I looking at here?
Yeah. And I don't want any part of that type of agenda for Superman.
I don't want that
or for any of my for any of my books.
Like, if you want to have that agenda, great. Make your own thing. Because like the interview with Michael B. Jordan and Oprah, where she was like, I heard you're gonna play Superman, and he's like, well, I don't want to play I don't want to play Clark Kent. Like, I'd be all right playing Calvin Ellis. And she's like, I don't know who that is. And then he said the greatest thing, and this is why I love him. He said, I would much rather be something original.
Thank you, Michael B. Jordan.
Dude, that dude is, not only is he one of the best young actors in Hollywood, he is just one. I feel like he's one of the most down to earth people. You know, you look at him in movies like Creed, and he's awesome. Like, he stole Black Panther. He was probably the only good part of Black Panther. He's great in Fruitville Station. You put him in like I don't know if you ever saw that awkward moment with him and Miles Teller and Zac Efron.
Yeah,
he steals that movie. He is so great in that movie.
Remember Chronicle?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing. Like, I mean, obviously the first thing I saw him in was The Wire, where, you know, in the first season he plays Wallace, the little drug runner. But I mean, Chronicle was like his first like big movie, and then I am of the opinion that the Michael B. Jordan seasons of Friday Night Lights are the best seasons of Friday Night Lights. I know I'm in the minority there. I know 100% I'm in the minority, because little Matty Saracen is he's just the gift to television football, and he was great. But like, I felt like the stories were way more compelling. Coach Taylor actually had to work, you know, and we got Michael B. Jordan being Vince, and you know, watching that struggle that he had being this kid with talent. Cree Williams is his dad, who I love that guy. You know, he's Black Lightning, even though he's Black Lightning is not nearly as good a show as he deserves to have.
Right.
But he was great in Oz. I don't know if you watched Oz. He was really good on that show.
I did not.
But anyway, I digress. I don't know. I love Superman. I think Superman is actually a really easy character to do if you think about it. And we're gonna get into that here in a second. Um, but doing this and with this creative team, I'm out. I'm just out.
Yeah,
So
like the when I got the link to that in this group text, I say I want no part of this,
Yeah.
especially, and again, this was they mentioned it's. I think the article mentions Cavill, and I was like, even with Cavill in this, I was like, especially with him out of this, I want no part of these two guys.
Yeah.
With the Superman product.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah. So can I just ask, what's the makeup of the group? Like, mostly black, mostly white?
Oh no, there's 2 black guys and then 5 white guys, and as far as comics go, and because we're all around the same age, I'm like the second or third oldest, I think.
That's because you're old enough.
Yeah. But yeah, some of us have been like, there's a couple that have been deep in the comics.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of like in the middle with that, in the sense of, at one time I used to be deep in the comics, but I've kind of stepped away, and I'm kind of getting back and forth in it now. And then there are some that haven't really been in the comics, or they were sort of like kind of almost like the normies, as Eric July says.
My goal is to get you to love comics as much as you love Pops.
Well, I'm on a Pop hiatus now, so and I'm rereading Invincible, which is so good.
Oh, so good. Anyway, all right. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited about this. Like, I was excited when I heard about the Superman reboot, and then I saw who was attached to it, and I was like, like I didn't even have to get to Ta-Nehisi Coates being involved in it to say I'm out.
Yeah.
Because
the minute they say reboot, there was no excitement for me, because even before I knew who these 2 guys were, it's like, why are you rebooting when you have Henry Cavill? And then I hear these guys, and it's just like you said, DC, Warner Brothers. Why do you not like money?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I told you, there's no reason Justice League should not have made billions of dollars. Capital
no reason
B,
at all.
capital Yuns.
Yeah. The fact that most movies that make $657 million is a rousing success. That one was a rousing obliteration of a failure.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And it shouldn't have made that much money, honestly.
No. Let's be honest. It was the normies who got it there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Superman is the most recognizable planet.
Yeah.
Superman is the most recognizable planet in the universe. So anyway, all right. So speaking of Supermans that we liked, Tyler Hoechlin, Hoechlin.
Yeah.
However you say it.
Hoechlin, yeah.
Hoechlin.
I think it's Hoechlin.
I thoroughly have enjoyed this dude as Superman, even when they were emasculating him on Supergirl. I'm a huge fan of Bitsy Turlock. I refuse to call her Elizabeth. Like, shout out to my Grimm peeps. But no, she's Bitsy. Is that like misnaming her? Am I gonna get kicked off of Twitter for that? Am I just like calling her what she used to go by? Anyway.
Well, it's like Mike Piazza back in the day. He's like, he called Chipper Jones Larry. He's like, I refuse to call a grown man Chipper.
Yeah. Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence. So the 2 of them have amazing chemistry. Yes. Amazing. And like, she just like she carries herself like Lois Lane should carry herself. And again, just the chemistry between the 2 of them. I tell you what I really liked. I liked Jordan Elias and Alex Garfin as Jonathan and Jordan Kent. Jordan being the new twin. I think it's funny that Jordan plays Jonathan and Alex plays Jordan.
Yeah. So evidently, I saw somewhere that I'm going to call her Elizabeth because that's her name. Where Bitsy, evidently, she had a picture on Twitter or something where it was a note that says Alex plays Jordan, and Jordan plays Jonathan. Yeah. Because evidently she was getting it confused.
She kept calling them by the wrong names. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is a really cool cool cast. I mean, you've got Emmanuel Chikuri as Lana Lang Cushing. Nice little spin there. Dylan Walsh, who is, like just a TV journeyman, as General Sam Lane. And then I'm just going to spoil something here at the end. We get a new character named Captain Luther, played by Wole Parks. And if you ever saw, what was it called? It was the Bike Messenger movie with JGL.
I've never seen that, but this guy's been on a few episodes last season of not Black Lightning, but All American.
Premium Rush.
And he's
Premium Rush is the
Premium
movie I was
Rush,
talking about.
right? Yeah.
So he's JGL's like chief rival, and he's great in it. I love him. He's hilarious.
Yeah, I really liked him in his guest roles in All American last year as well. So and talk about how an introduction though. They did a 5-minute introduction and gave those people who have never maybe know Superman but have never really paid attention to his origin.
Yeah,
they did such a great job setting things up, where he came from, how he grew up,
in introducing the Arrowverse version.
Yes.
Of Superman,
right.
Which was great. Now, they did do my least favorite thing that we tend to do with Superman these days.
Yeah.
And it's kill his parents. That's why Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman as told by ABC, was really good because he had his mom and dad, and it did not. It was more of like the John Byrne run with his parents versus the fucking Richard Donner. Anyway, it will never not make me mad when they kill the Kents early and often. Getting to watch adult Clark interact with his dad is really, really important. Plus, getting to watch adult Clark interact with his dad and then kill him gets super dusty, whatever room you're in.
Yeah. So, like in Smallville?
Dude. I mean, he wasn't like an adult, it was still kind of went the Donner way. But, we did get like 6 solid seasons of John Schreier.
Yeah. And he was so good. He was so freaking good as Jonathan.
He's the best Eddie, what's his name, who was in Lois and Clark, is the second best. But John Schreier was the best Jonathan Kent. I mean, it's not like the Kents in the Man of Steel, who were monsters and would have raised Brightburn. Like, let's be honest. So the fact that he turned out to be Superman was just like nature over nurture, which is weird because the Kryptonians are a warring, horrible people.
Like the Viltrumites.
Not as bad as
maybe not as bad. I was about to say maybe not as bad.
They don't have a ring of their dead around their planet. Let's just put it that way. But so no, this was the first 5 minutes of this were great. We got to see the Golden Age costume. We got an awesome interaction.
Action Comics #1.
Yep.
And they even had the green car.
Yep. And for the people who have ovaries, I imagine they exploded when Tyler Hoechlin was like, "Yeah, my mom made it for me." That was like the most genuine, like earnest thing, and like he was so happy to be Superman. It's what's been missing from the character for quite a while. And because even Welling, even Welling had the like angst,
angst, the teenage angst, So that scene right there, that short clip of when that kid says "nice costume" and his reply, the way he replied, that had me all in. Like,
did your ovaries explode?
No, but I got chills all over my body. I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, there was just something, like you said, so earnest, because when we were talking about it, you also said that could have been such a cheesy throwaway line.
There was
wasn't.
More downside than upside to doing that.
Yes. And he made it. And again, even though they made him a jobber on Supergirl to the point where I stopped watching Supergirl, I would always tune in when he was on the show because I like him from the teenage. He used to be on Teen Wolf, and I think he was in. I saw him in this other movie. I can't remember the name of it. Where it was on Amazon Prime, where he was a older brother and he was really good. I think Miles Teller was in it too.
Oh, so
But I really like him, and I like him as Superman. And this Superman is better than anything that we've seen of him as Superman in the previous Arrowverse.
yeah,
Because again, this is a little different because with the Infinite Crisis and on Infinite Earths and stuff like that, things got changed around.
yeah,
And I think this is kind of like a reboot for what we have of the Arrowverse.
Mhm.
And I like it. I like that because it's not throwing away what we've learned about him,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's kind of polishing it off, and in the most, and instead of throwing away what they have, like WB is doing with the Superman reboot we were just talking about, the CW is embracing what they have and what they've had with Tyler Hoechlin
Yeah.
as Superman.
So
And
here's what I want to see from the reboot, right? Like
Mhm.
Superman's pod burns up an atmosphere. Superman reboot canceled.
Oh man.
I know it's talking about killing a baby Kryptonian, but still, like, just,
No, probably Superman's pod will crash land in Africa, and he'll be raised there.
Will he be raised by a group of people who don't want to help anyone else around them, and then are completely isolationist, and then his best friend will show up, and everybody will turn on him just at the drop of a hat?
That sounds about right. That sounds familiar too.
Yeah, it happened in Aquaman.
Aquaman on land.
Landman. So, all right. So this pilot. So we've talked a lot about this 5 minutes, right? So, we've got Morgan Edge being carried over from Supergirl, but it's a different character playing, or different actor playing Morgan Edge. So, I'm getting the feeling they're on a different Earth.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we've got Captain Luthor, who is Alex Luthor. So he's probably Lex's son of some kind, not John Cryer's Lex, I hope. By the way, I hated John Cryer as Lex Luthor.
I did not like John Cryer.
The only John Cryer Lex Luthor I liked was in Crisis when he had the interaction with Tom Welling, and that's because Tom Welling made that scene. But yeah, so we meet the kids. We're introduced. Martha dies really early on. They go back for her funeral. The boys get into hijinks.
Oh, by the way, who puts a router in a barn?
A TV producer who wants to create a scenario where giant lead pipes fall on your kids who who the audience thinks may or may not have powers, to see what happens.
Yeah, when that scene came on, it's like, yeah, the router's in the barn. Like, excuse me, what?
I saw that, the router's in the barn. I was like, fuck you. Yeah, you know how often you have to reboot a router?
Yeah.
Like,
and then
why?
Ma Kent having to reboot the router.
How is Martha gonna get that high to get the router?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, can you imagine, like, Sarah Cushing is just hanging out at the Ken farm, and she's like, Martha, I can't get on the internet. And she's like, oh, Sarah, it's just in the barn. God damn it, Martha. Why is it in the barn? And I know that's the Christian Bale Batman voice. But
which yeah, I know it doesn't make any sense.
It just doesn't work doing the Ben Affleck, like, why did you say that name? But anyway, yeah, like you're asking us to suspend our disbelief that a man can fly.
Yeah.
And all right,
but I will not suspend my disbelief of a router in a freaking barn.
Look, if you want your router to be up high like that, great. What you do is you put like you put the router where it's easy to get to, and you put a bridge up high. That will, But yeah, so there was that, and then the party. You knew there was going to be a fight.
Oh yeah.
Although I did tell you, I think So one of the two twins has powers. They subverted the expectations. Spoiler alert. It's Jordan. And so the subtitle for this week's episode. So this one is called "It Was Superman in the Vision," and the subtitle is "It's a bird. It's a plane. It's emo."
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I was watching. So I went back and watched like stuff leading up to like news and stuff, and everyone's like, Jonathan Kent is gonna be Superboy, and it's like, wow. No, they went with the entirely new character that they made up, who will be Brightburn, and I'm really excited to watch Elizabeth Banks and Roy from The Office ruin this kid.
So I thought it was funny because, like, did you ever read Super Sons?
I told you about Super Sons.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, you sure? Because
yeah.
I read it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I love Super Sons. Well, one, Damian Wayne is one of the better characters DC's put out.
I love
one
their
of the new
interactions.
characters. And John Kent being the by the book Boy Scout, and Damian like, let's just sneak out. Like, you know, that dynamic was great. And then John not understanding why Damian doesn't have powers.
Yeah. So yeah, Damian has that. You know, he has that super serious type perspective, and I think that's why they put Jordan like he did. Because again, don't know why, but they don't do Batman or any. You know, they rarely do Batman in TV shows. At least, I mean, Titans does it obviously, and you know, you have to animate it.
Kinda. Again, like they went with a really old guy to play Batman.
Yeah,
Like Sir Jorah Mormont is Batman. Again, go F yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, I love, like, one of the things you said, you love these two guys that play the brothers.
Yeah, I thought they were great.
They play brothers so well because Jonathan gives his brother grief, but he did not hesitate to step, you know, to try to save his brother and put his body on line.
So when Jordan was trying to steal that guy's Kool-Aid, if you will, Jonathan just stepped up and threw the first punch.
Yeah.
And then Jordan went full Brightburn. I'm telling you, he's gonna start burning Kryptonian symbols into like barns and planes and stuff. He's gonna be teaming up with Captain Luthor by the end of the season. I would almost guarantee it.
Yeah,
I would 100% bet your life on it.
No,
That's how confident I am. I'll bet your life on it.
I'm really curious to see where they go if Jonathan ever gets powers, or Jordan. Yeah, Jordan has heat vision, and he has, you know, they were, you know, heavy whatever bricks and beams and pipes that fell on him. But what if he can't fly? What if it ends up being Jonathan in season 1, at the end of season 1 or season 2? Get some of the powers.
Yeah.
There's so much they can do with this because they've already subverted some of the expectations. Or what if because he's young, the powers come and go or something. I mean, I think we saw that before with Clark in Smallville.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, like Superman will have that depending on like what kind of kryptonite is around. I'm curious as to the yellow kryptonite that he pulled out of the ship, or orange. If that had something to do with it.
Kind of activating him,
like activating more, like instead of it just being a latent, like if he turned it, like, you know, to steal a spoiler line from WandaVision, was it just going to be a power that died on the vine but got, you know, supercharged? But yeah, I don't want to go too terribly into this, but I'm excited for this. Like I watched it twice. I'm all in for next Wednesday to watch it again. I think we're gonna keep talking about it until we don't like it anymore.
And it's only 12 or 13 episodes.
I think it's 13, which is, I'm shocked that the CW didn't make it 16 or 17. So
yeah, I like, that's perfect for me for
please.
You know, a network show, because, you know, they're not going to do the 8 or 10
show. Like,
well, I'm just saying, like, you know, streaming shows are doing that a lot with 8 and 10 episodes.
Well, but they're doing 8 to 10 episodes because they're doing an hour long for the most part.
Yeah,
like, you know.
Yeah, and that's true. You have the 42 minutes?
42 minutes with commercials
or something like that.
And,
so,
oh my god, CW, can I like buy the app and not have commercials?
And it's like 5 minutes worth of commercials.
Dude, every 13 minutes.
It's like, oh geez.
It's like,
that's why. Yeah, that's why when I can, I watch those on YouTube TV because I can just fast forward
Well,
through the
I don't
commercials.
have YouTube TV, Daryl.
Oh, well,
Anyway.
sounds like a personal problem.
All right. So let's say out of reversed mortgaged farms, out of 5, I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it a 4.
I am going to go a little bit higher and a 4.25.
Okay. All right. So moving on, let's talk about WandaVision episode 8.
So
Previously
speaking
on.
of, yeah. So just so you know, I don't know why the last day and a half, the original WandaVision song for the first episode has been just careening through my head.
Really?
I don't know why.
I've had it's been Agatha all along stuck in my head for a week. So.
Well, I had that for a week, and then yesterday, for some reason, the season 1 or the episode 1 song got stuck in my head.
Yeah, I also have like the Wonder Woman version of it where it's like Wanda, 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 WandaVision.
That sounds like that kind of reminds me of Spy Hunter.
Yeah, but it's like, well, yeah, like but yeah, no, it's like because it's the Wonder, 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 Wonder. Anyway, but yeah, nobody wants to hear us sing.
Yeah.
I loved this episode so much. We got Agatha's back. All right, if you're gonna spoon feed me, Marvel, this is the way to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's just put it out there. What did I tell you? There was a character missing this week, and I did not realize they were not in the episode until we talked this morning.
Yeah. Miss Rambeau.
I did not miss her. Like honestly,
Yeah.
she I like Tahona Paris. I think she's great. I don't think she's right for the role. I don't think Monica Rambeau is written especially well.
I was about to say, I don't know if they know how to write her well.
I hate director Hayward, not because he's the villain, but because they introduced him as this like kind of caring guy, and they turned him into this mustache twirling like
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah, it's kind of like your 3D printer when they just printed out a little template and just said, we're going to use this as him.
Yeah.
That's
middle-aged white guy, bad guy, done. Stamp, move on. So
unless and the one thing I'm holding out on, and after this week, I seriously doubt it's going to happen, unless there's some ulterior thing we haven't seen from him, and he's playing a long game, and he is someone we don't expect him.
Like,
to
is
be.
he Mephisto? Is that what you're thinking?
Or even not even just Mephisto, but he is kind of like an acolyte of his or something like that. I don't see that happening.
He's like the JBL to the Undertaker.
Yes.
Okay.
So I doubt.
And
don't see
that lady
happening.
who's his like right hand person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I love this, man. Like going through and seeing the Maximoff kids growing up, getting more context around why the Stark bomb didn't go off. By the way, we're not spoiling this episode right now. You have to tune into Patreon for that. Yeah, I thought this was great. I love Catherine Hahn. And she got to do so much in this episode.
Yeah. And I've noticed there's a lot of people that are fans of hers, even in my circle of friends. Like, again, in the text chain, love Catherine Hahn. And a couple other people that aren't on there that I know through other places, they're like, oh, I love her.
I mean, she's
most
people probably
mention,
know her
other
as
shows she's been in.
Yeah, most people probably know her as Jen Barkley from Parks and Rec, the political consultant who helps Paul Rudd's Bobby Newport, run against Leslie for city council, and Leslie Nope, Bobby Newport kills puppies. I love when Tom and Banner going back and forth with the Bobby Newport voice. Anyway, but no, she's in this great movie called Bad Words with Jason Bateman. She's in this great single 6-episode series on HBO called Mrs. Fletcher. She's obviously in Bad Moms, which she was great. Just whenever she shows up, she's just a hilarious breath of fresh air, and she's a great actress. She's got amazing comedic timing.
Yeah, and she can be menacing when she wants to be.
Yes, very, very much so. I mean, she's had a huge career. I mean, she's got, just between television and movies and stuff, she's great. I mean, she just shows up on stuff, and it's always like sweet. Catherine Hahn. But yeah, so okay, so we get the Wanda Maximoff, This Is Your Life. I do have to say, I really liked her family's choice in like TV shows to have like family movie night with.
That was pretty cool.
That box of DVDs and in there, it's like, where did you get a Malcolm in the Middle DVD? Those were really hard to come by because of the music rights.
Especially in Sokovia.
Well, maybe it was only in Sokovia that you could get it. I did like on TV night, they only spoke English in the Maximoff household to practice. That was very funny.
Agatha pointing out, like, that accent of yours just
goes
in and out.
Yeah. The opening up on Agatha in the Salem witch trial. Now, how bad is it when you are the witch being tried by other witches?
Yeah, we never get. Well, she was looking at information that was too powerful.
She said they said she was using magics that were beyond her age and
beyond
station.
her, yeah.
Or age and position, I think was the word she said. Maybe she said station. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, that was great. And then she taught them.
Yeah. So it didn't.
The false fear.
Yeah. But like going back to Wanda, like you said, it was almost kind of like that. This is your life / visiting, coming to terms with what you are and what you've gone through, and actually facing, the pain that you've so long tried to hide. And I really love that about this episode, because it does force Wanda into an uncomfortable position of facing that future or facing the past that she wants to forget about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she mustn't fear. Fear is the mind killer.
Yes.
Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. She will face her fears. She will permit it to pass over and through her. And when it has gone past, she will turn the inner eye to see its path. And where the fear has gone, there will be only nothing, but Wanda will remain.
Or you can just say, you can lose, but you must not lose to fear. Quote Mr. Miyagi.
True, very true. I prefer Dune over Mr. Miyagi, but
I prefer Mr. Miyagi's. Yeah, Mr. Miyagi's was a little bit more succinct and to the point. Although Dune's is much more poetic.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Let's just say, clear eyes, full hearts can't lose.
Can't lose.
So, and Wanda did not have a full heart, and this episode did get a little teary. It was very heartbreaking to watch her dealing with the loss in the flashback. And Agatha, the way she prodded, and she's like, that's interesting. I need more.
Yeah. And the one thing I like in those, her family had 2-3 minutes maybe of screen time. And in that time, they created such a loving environment. I mean, that was just kudos to the actors and the writing and the directing in that scene.
So
to get so much in such a short amount of time.
Matt Shackman again directed, and it was Laura Donnie wrote this episode. I don't think she wrote any of the other episodes, Let me check real quick. But yeah, I mean they did so much character development in such a short amount of time, with different characters. Yeah, this was the first episode that Laura wrote. This is the culmination of what this has been building to. We got to see her come in contact with the Mind Stone, and some wonkiness happened there. We learn that maybe she had these powers all along, and the Mind Stone just supercharged them. And then how she creates Westview, New Jersey, and how she ended up there, I thought was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard.
That was, yeah. And then that was. I mean, and it was funny because when I first watched this episode, and it's one of those instances of it's hard to make a judgment sometimes with episodes for me because there's so much going on, and I have to step back. And it's like with Infinity War. I really liked Infinity War, but it wasn't until I stepped back and watched it again that I really appreciated how much I loved it. Yes. Not liked it, how much I loved it.
Yes.
And this episode for me, it was one of those where I was after we got to after I watched it for the first time, I had to step back. Okay. I had to go about my work day. And because I watch these like right before I work. I have my coffee. I got my 7 a.m., got my donuts, watched it. And, it was with me all day. And then I kind of watched, some reactions and some scenes here and there. And it really kind of developed in how much I like this episode.
This is the first episode I wanted to just immediately watch for a second time.
Mm-hmm. And it's a sad thing that there are some people that watched the first couple episodes and it wasn't their cup of tea.
You know what I call those people?
This a chance.
I call those people crazy because this is, and anyone who asks me about like, what do you think of WandaVision? The first thing I say, it is the most creative thing the MCU has ever done. The second 100%. Thing I say is I love what they did in the first 3 episodes. And as much as I hated episode 4, because I don't want to be spoon-fed. I don't want to be told. I want to be shown. That's the only misstep to me that this season has really had, other than Monica not necessarily being what I wanted her to be. And maybe that's just my history with, like, I like Spectrum. I think Spectrum's a great character. I like Monica in the comics. Like, she's always been an interesting character.
And we get snippets of how good she can be throughout this, throughout the series. My problem is it's been such an up and down journey as far as her characterization. Because there are moments where it's like, okay, this is what we want. And then it seems like it's just an up and down. It's like for every step forward they take a step back with her character.
I think whenever, like, the couple episodes where Peter Cameron had, like, where he was one of the 2 writers, what we saw of Monica was a little more interesting. I think I'm really fearful because the Megan McDonnell episodes, with the second one, We Interrupt This Program, like, she's the writer of Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
And so if this is how she's presenting Monica Rambeau to us, like, I have even less desire to see it. Okay, this was the first episode that did not have a commercial. The Hydra-esque commercial. So I found that interesting. And we had a great end credit scene, or I guess it was a mid credit. It goes from, like, the stylized credits to just every person who voiced one of the characters around the world in whatever language, which adds 87 minutes to the runtime. So, but yeah, and kind of how what's happening with Vision. Like, we learned a whole bunch of stuff. So.
Again, when you're talking about showing and not telling, and you said it when you first started talking about it, this is how I want to be spoon-fed stuff.
Yeah, show me why these people are great.
Yeah, and look at episode 4, which takes it. It's the same type, but it takes such a different approach, such a hands-on approach instead of what this one did. It was
Mm,
hands-off because it gave you the setup, it showed you,
right.
and it didn't have all this dialogue where it's like, okay, this happened. We were such a good family because of this, that, and the other. And no, they showed it to you. Then,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, in a 2-minute scene, it gave us such a loving family that it was, even though we knew what was going to happen to them, still heartbreaking to see when it happens.
Yep. Yep. All right. So out of 5 Fietros,
Fake Pietro.
yep, or Fietro, I'm going 4.5.
Same. I was, yep, 4.5.
So yeah, this was quite the episode.
Yeah, and I'm just so excited to see what we get for the finale.
So
And
what
like I said,
happened? Yeah, what happened in the mid-credit finale, like cutscene, like has me super excited.
man, yeah.
Because what that is actually one of the few Avengers stories I loved. So, from the comics. But yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I think that's it. I don't like we'll go deeper. You guys gotta go sign up for Patreon. Thanks Matt and Julian for backing us. Check it out, the commentaries. So for $2 you can listen to all 8 of them as of they're already out based on when this podcast comes out. So yeah. Any last words?
No, just looking forward to, again, like I mentioned when we were talking about Spider-Man, I am really looking forward to see what they do with the multiverse.
Yeah.
And how next week's WandaVision finale ties in / leads up to that.
Yep. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Superman and Lois, for being awesome, and thank you,
Oh,
WandaVision, for being awesome. And
remember, this month is gonna, well, not
dude,
March
is gonna be crazy. Yeah, I
can't wait.
Man, it pisses me off that I have to turn my Netflix back on. I don't use it for months. I cancel it, and then it's like, oh yeah, everything under the sun is coming out this month. Thanks, Netflix.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. They're like, you're welcome.
You're welcome. You owe us $14 for the next month now. It's just gotten so expensive. Like, I can understand spending like $16 a month on HBO Max because there's so much stuff on there, and oh my god, Haley is like watching everything DCU. Like all the cartoons, every single one of them. So, by the way, Static Shock is on there now. So is The Batman, which is like actually one of the cooler Batman cartoons. With I think Rhino Romero is the guy's name who voices Bruce and Batman, who was the voice of Spider-Man in the 90s cartoon. Or no, sorry, in the video games. But yeah, so definitely worth checking those 2 shows out. And yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else?
That'll be it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And check out our Patreon. Check out our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. And if you feel so obliged, head over to iTunes or just head over to theinfamouspodcast.com and it'll take you to whatever things we're on. And you can leave a nice review for us if you would be so obliged. And we would appreciate it. All right. We will talk to you guys next week. Later.
Peace out.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Daryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/infamouspodcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from memichaelhenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.